Hi everybody, this is TJ with the PTU Trend Jumper at netpicks.com. In today's video, I'm going to be focusing on a few new themes, mainly the Pro Plus calculator that we're coming out with. As you probably heard, we have an advanced boot camp coming up April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in Los Angeles. And many people are signing up for that to either join us live in person or live from the comfort of their own homes via the internet. And either way is fine. We're really excited about it, and I wanted to kind of give you a sneak peek of some of the things we're going to be covering, mainly the new power tools that have just been infused into the Trend Jumper. These power tools plug right in. They work with TradeStation or NinjaTrader. So with these examples, I'm going to show you on TradeStation. And I'm going to focus on the idea of subdividing up a session into mini sessions. And each mini session we treat as a separate session with its own rules, its own start time, its own stop time, its own quitting goals, maximum number of trades that we can take. Everything is completely contained within each mini session. And so when one mini session is over, we can then look to start the mid-morning mini session, for example. And again, we start over. We forget what happened in the earlier session. We start with a brand new session, brand new goals, rules. Everything is contained within that mini session. Now this can be done with futures or Forex. I'll show you some Forex in a bit. I'm working on brand new Forex trade plans currently as we speak. But right now I'm going to show you some trade plans that I've just put my finishing touches on. They're currently being forward tested, but they're looking really good. So we're going to start with crude oil. Okay, so this trade plan starts rather early. It actually starts at 8:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it finishes by 11 a.m. or if it hits its maximum trades or its profit goals. And of course, all that information is going to be shared during the boot camp. So let's just see how it did this morning. We got long at 98.77, and this was a small little trade which quickly turned around and stopped out. So the first trade was actually a losing trade this morning, and it lost 9 ticks per position. So like normal Trend Jumper trade plans, we're going in this with 2 positions, one to the fixed target, which was the middle target, and the second one to trail. So it didn't take too long to get a new setup. That one canceled. Notice that the automation also is taking these trades. This is all done with the new Pro Plus automation, which syncs up perfectly with the calculator. The next trade came at 9:58, 98.87. We're targeting 99.13, and you can see that we hit that target right here. Now we're trailing the green line. One of the things that we're utilizing with this trade plan are some of the new tools that have been added to the Pro Plus calculator. Different calculations for targeting, entries, stops, and even trailing. Just new tools to make the Trend Jumper even more powerful and more effective. And you can see how this went as far as it would go. Took us out right here. That was good for a 26-cent target and a 42-cent trailer, and the net of these 2 trades ends up being 50 cents, and we're basically done for this mini session with 50 cents. That's 500 bucks. So now all we have to do is wait for the second mini session to begin. The second mini session begins right around when the first mini session ends. Okay, the first session ended earlier because we hit our profit goals. So now we're just waiting. 11 a.m. This mini session starts. Notice we're using a different chart. This is a faster chart. It's a 425 tick bar, whereas the first mini session used a 610 tick bar. Here's our start time. Actually, the trade set up in front of our start time, but the strategy is smart enough to know to get in sync and to be able to take that trade at our start time. You can see right there, it gets triggered in. The stop is already cutting risk. Look at how tight It holds the trade in, trails all the way down, cutting risk. It's already profitable, but it ultimately hits a nice target and trails down all the way to there, even further. And so session number 2, 55 cents to the first target, 85 cents on the trailer. Not only that, but the new Pro Plus comes with this great set of information here where you can instantly see how much is your risk, what is your reward, and what is your risk to reward ratio to our fixed target. Now target 3 I'm not using, so I just hide it at target 2. But it's a 2.89 risk reward ratio. This is pretty darn good. Almost 3 to 1. Risking 19 cents to make 55 cents. And we did even better on the trailer. So that was good for $1.40. And when you add the 2 mini sessions together, winning 2 out of 3 trades, the session made $1.90 today. That's $1,900. Really great. All right, in a moment I'm going to show you the mini sessions for the Dowie Mini. But what I want to do first is I want to share with you a new technique that you can do with the new Trend Jumper Pro Plus. So basically there's a brand new setup that we've added to the Pro Plus. Many of you have heard me talk about this and teach this over the last many months. We've had to visually figure it out by hand. But now it is part of the calculator and we can turn it on or off. It's called the measuring stick trade. And it's colored in green. I'm not going to get into the story why I call it that. Many of you already know, but suffice it to say it's an excellent trade. In fact, I'm of a firm belief that you could literally specialize in just this one setup alone and be very successful as a trader. And I've been saying that for months, so I'm trying to prove that out by creating trade plans that only use the measuring stick trade. All right, so here we are with our favorite 377 crude chart. Only the measuring stick trade. This has been created just for this trade plan, and it only trades 35 minutes a day. That's all you need. So what happens today? First trade begins right here at the open of the pit, and you can see how everything just held together perfectly, hit the full target, and then came off and stopped out. But a quick, easy winner. It was only good for 12 cents today. You know, sometimes they do better. You can see this one was quite a bit larger because it's certainly dynamic to market conditions. But it was one and done. And what I love about this particular trade plan is the following. Over the last 6 months, it's won nearly 78% of its trades. 2.49 profit factor, making close to $80 a trade. Very strong setup. Only 3 losses in a row over the 6 months, and yet it's won 17 in a row, even won 26 shorts in a row, if you're just counting shorts. A very strong trade, and this is going to work on many markets. That's the equity curve. Of course, I'm still testing it. It's brand new, but it is beginning to prove out what I've been saying all along, that you can specialize on the measuring stick trade alone and really control your trading and only go for the highest quality trades and become very successful. So let me show you the same trade setup on the Euro US, and then we'll end the video with a quick walkthrough of the Dowie mini sessions. Now with Forex, obviously you have to be very patient, especially with time-based charts like a 5-minute chart. Sometimes you're just not going to get the setups that you want, in which case you just don't trade or you just don't have setups. Other times you may get trades that aren't going to work. But if you stay with the plan, you get some amazing results. This uses a 3-position approach, as with our other Forex day trade plan. I like the fact that you can trade minis. You can get really small if you have to, depending on your account size, and you can scale out and take advantage of different target levels. So one of the new features of the Pro Plus calculator is that we can now track a 3rd position. And I'm utilizing that with this 5-minute chart of the Euro US. So you can see over the last 6 months, 3 positions. These are 3 full-size lots. So you may have to decide whether you could trade full-size lots. You should never risk more than 2% on any given trade, in my opinion. But this is winning 77% of the time. So maybe you could afford to risk a tiny bit more. But it's got a nice average per trade. It's got a nice average win to average loss ratio. Great profit factor. And so far, a little drawdown here and there, but very little. I mean, a really nice equity curve. Obviously, we got to still play this out and see how it does going forward for a bit. Give it a good time to prove that it can continue to do this. But this is looking really good. I've seen these before. This is the measuring stick trade. Again, a very controlled trade, only focusing on the highest quality setups. So I'm going to be coming out with a whole series of trade plans using this concept with the new Trend Jumper Pro Plus. Really simplifies things. So let's go ahead now and jump over to the Dowie Mini and see how today's mini sessions did. Alright, so there's 3 charts here, and I have them lined up in the sequence that we're going to use them. Okay, so we're going to use the 377 for the first early part of the morning, mini session number 1. And believe it or not, we're going to jump over to a 6-minute chart. So from a 377 tick to a 6-minute chart for the mid-morning session, for the mini session number 2. And then I decided to get really creative, and for the late morning session, you might even call it early afternoon. It's a late morning session. We're going to use a share bar or volume bar. Okay, so 3 completely different trade plans. Gives you diversification. It gives you a way to focus on 3 sessions. Maybe you can't do the early session. Maybe you can't do the later session. You can just isolate one of these and specialize on the mid-morning 6-minute chart. Or you might specialize on the late morning share bar chart, and that's it. That's fine. Or maybe you just have more trade in you, and you want to trade more, but you don't want to give back your profits. Well, here's a sensible way to do it, because each one of these trade plans has its own unique winning edge in the market, and you could take advantage of each one of them. So whether one loses, one wins, that's going to happen sometimes. It doesn't matter, because over time, all 3 of them produce steady profits. And so it's a great way to diversify. It's another form of a concept I introduced some time ago called power trading, where you focus on one market, but you divide it up like we're doing into different sessions. So let's just run through this one really quick. This one starts right at the open, actually starts 1 minute after at 8:31. And, mixed results here. Let me blow this up so you can see it. The first trade actually is a loser. And I hate it when it just barely ticks in and then goes the other direction. But you know what? You never can avoid that completely. It's going to happen once in a while. No matter where you put your entries, there's going to be the time you get ticked in, ticked out, and ticked off. But you know what? It's just one trade. In fact, this one stops and reverses, so it cuts the loss short. We like it when that happens. And it heads down. And this gives us a nice partial profit. So the first trade lost 19 points. The YM trades in points, 19 points per position. But the second trade got 15 points per position on a partial profit. Okay? So we're still trading. The trade plan's not over. Here we have a trade that just triggers in and then triggers out again. So 2 losses. This one loses 14 points. Then we end up with our 4th trade. And this trade plan actually will let you trade a maximum of 5. Okay? If you haven't hit your goals yet. So this is trade number 4. It also lets you trade up to 3 losses. Well, we've only had 2 losses. So the trade plan's still going. So look what happens. We hit a nice big target. Remember, the market is adjusting to current conditions. The trend jumper is constantly tuning itself. You lose on the small trade, you win on the big trade. That trade grabbed 89 points and then another 80 points on the trailer and ended up 133 points. So winning 2 out of 4 on the first mini session, up 133 points. So let's jump over to the mid-morning session. All right, so here's the mid-morning session, and this one's a little bit unique in that it's a 6-minute bar, right? So 6-minute bars definitely can go for a long time. This trade can go and go. So what happened here? It got long at 10:48 and it hit the full target, and that one was good for 23 points. But the trailer moved up to here and it's still trailing. Now there's a stop and reverse that may happen. We don't know yet. So this one's still going. That leaves us to something that could happen from time to time, and that is, well, what about the third mini session? Because this one started while the other one was still going. There's a lot of nice winning trades on the share bar chart, but this one actually started at noon. This starts right at noon Central Standard Time, a couple minutes after. But the earlier mid-morning trade was still going. So you just have to make a decision. You either stay with the trade you're in, or you just close it out. You close it out at the end of the session. I don't know what the best approach is, one or the other. But assuming that you closed it out, this is the third session. You can see it triggering in right here, hitting the full target, almost perfect. Trend Jumper's known for targets that are very accurate. You can see it was accurate here. And that one went from 16,260 down to 16,251. It's a little 9-point trade, and then a couple extra points on the trailer. Much smaller trade. But, you know, markets tend to tighten up as the day gets older. So there's a reason why this is a smaller chart. And when the trade's bigger, the trade plan knows how to adjust it. Remember, it's tuning itself to market conditions. And just jumping back to the 6-minute chart, you could see that it closed itself out at the entry to go short here. Even though we're not taking that trade, the strategy knows that an entry in the opposite direction moved the stop up from here all the way up to there. And so this trade ended up netting, the trailer ended up netting 55 points. And all in all, this trade ended up netting another 78 points. And between the two morning sessions, not counting the third session, but the early one and this one, that's 211 points on the Dow. And remember, each one of these sessions has its own goals, its own stop times. You're never over trading. You're only allowed to trade the amount of trades that the trade plan says. So I think this is going to really help out a lot of you who are struggling with when to quit. Trend Jumper tends to catch up and get positive, but can you trade through a lot of trades? Well, you don't have to with this concept. With this concept, you just trade the mini session and just let it do its thing. Here's a quick look at the 6-minute chart during the mid-morning mini session, winning 69% of its trades. This is over the last 6 months. So 239 trades, 2.42 profit factor, over $60 average, and it's well balanced up and down. That may not sound like a lot, but that's 12 YM points. 12 YM points net of all wins and losses. And a pretty nice looking equity curve. So it'll be nice to see it move up and break out to new equity highs. That's what you want to see when you're testing a new plan. So anyway, guys, I'm really excited. I can't wait to show you some new stuff. If you have not yet registered for the Advanced PTU Bootcamp, Premier Trader University Bootcamp, make sure to do so. It's a really sweet deal, and the training and the trade plans that go with it are going to be well worth it. Learning how to do the measuring stick trade, having that included, and all the additional tools that come with the Pro Plus that make these trade plans and these mini sessions more viable are all worth considering attending the boot camp. Also, we're having a webinar on the 25th Actually, we have several webinars. We have a webinar this Saturday morning. We have more webinars so that you could learn more about the Trend Jumper Pro Plus, the Premier Trader University. There's a great PTU strategy also that you will also be able to use, and that comes with the university enrollment and the boot camp enrollment. So it's worth checking out these webinars just so that you can get informed. You might decide that this is right up your alley and something you want to do. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is TJ with netpicks.com and the PTU Trend Jumper. See you next time.